Hi guys, it's Michelle, Deception Bytes, and today is Thursday, September 20th, and it's 8:19 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope everyone is doing well. What we're going to be doing this evening is we are going to be catching up from the post from September 19th. This video will cover the 19th in its entirety, and then later I am going to post the video from today's Q post, the 20th. So there will be two videos tonight, at least. Probably that is all I'll get through tonight is those two videos, but one never knows how much energy I'll have. You never know. I might just throw in another one there just for fun. So let's get started. Now, here is the first one, and Q says, how about a nice game of chess? Inspector General Horowitz, Justice Department, and justice is in quotations there, speech, whistleblowers. And of course, we have a link here. Now, because I clipped this out, these links are not active, so I have to go below here to go to the first link, and this is a huge, massive, colossal post. So here is link 1. Let's go out and see what Q wants to show us. And it's Meet the Inspector General, Office of the Inspector General, and it's about Michael Horowitz, and let's see what Q is wanting to tell us about Michael Horowitz. Let's go back up here. Man, now I really do think this is the longest Q post I have ever seen, and there's been some long ones, but this takes the cake. Okay, so he says, how about a nice game of chess? Inspector General Horowitz, quote, Justice Department, speech, whistleblowers. And it says, Chairman of the Council of the Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency. And he asks that with a question mark, but it's not a question. It is a statement because Inspector General Horowitz is indeed the chairman of the Council of the Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency. And this quote, of course, is from this link that I just showed you. It says, since 2015, he has simultaneously served as the chair of the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, CIGIE, an organization comprised of all 73 federal inspectors general. Then Q says, think yesterday. Now, remember yesterday there was the speech that Inspector General Horowitz, we actually went out and listened to a good portion of that. And remember, he said, speak truth to power. And so Q is saying, think yesterday. What was learned? Robert Storch confirmed as the NSA Inspector General. Now, he's asking that as a question, as he often does, but again, this is a statement because Robert Storch was indeed confirmed as the NSA Inspector General. So let's go to the second link here, and let's look at what Q is wanting to show us. And it takes us a while to get back down to the bottom of the post because this is the world's largest post, I do believe. So here is link 2. And this is Robert Storch. He looks a little bit like he works for the IRS, and I'm not making fun of the man, but really this is what I picture an IRS worker to look like. Maybe I'm wrong, but at any rate, that has nothing to do with anything. Robert Storch confirmed as National Security Agency Inspector General, but this was in December 22nd, 2017. Fort Meade, Maryland, Admiral Michael S. Rogers, Director of the National Security Agency, is pleased to announce the Senate confirmation of the President's nomination of Robert P. Storch as the Inspector General for the National Security Agency. Upon the President's signature, Mr. Storch will become the first presidentially appointed IG for the NSA. And that's important because Mr. Storch is the first presidentially appointed Inspector General. And it says, we look forward to welcoming Mr. Storch at NSA. His extensive experience at the Department of Justice's Office of Inspector General makes him an excellent choice to be NSA's Inspector General. His nomination and confirmation underline our commitment to lawfulness, transparency, and the protection of legitimate whistleblowers, noted Admiral Rogers. The NSA Office of Inspector General, OIG, works independently within the agency to assess the agency's activities. In doing so, NSA OIG helps ensure the NSA abides by law, regulation, and policy, treats its employees and affiliates fairly, and uses public resources wisely. NSA's OIG's authority promotes accountability and assists in detecting and preventing fraud, waste, and abuse. Prior to joining NSA, Mr. Storch served in several positions at the Department of Justice OIG, including as senior counsel to the IG and acting deputy inspector general prior to his 2015 appointment as deputy inspector general. He also served as chairman of the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, whistleblower, Ombudsman Working Group, I can never pronounce that word, Working Group, the Whistleblower Ombudsman or Ombudsperson program has helped establish, he helped establish is widely seen as a leader in the field. Now, we might as well finish. Earlier in his career, Mr. Storch also worked as a federal prosecutor in the Northern District of New York. Actually, that's very important. Most recently, serving as the deputy criminal chief and counsel to the U.S. Attorney. He was also posted overseas for 2 years as Department of Justice resident legal advisor in Ukraine. Mr. Storch is a magna cum laude graduate of Harvard University and earned his JD from Columbia Law School. Now, let's go back and let's go back up to the top and see what Q is wanting to tell us here. Again, the world's largest post here. Now, okay, so we are right here. We just looked at this. Now, Q is telling us what's important about this. And again, he's asking us questions, but he's telling us. First presidentially appointed IG for NSA? Yes, he is. He is the first presidentially appointed Inspector General for the NSA. Department of Justice background important? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, it is. Otherwise, Q would not be mentioning it. He puts the question mark there, but we know that this is a statement. He's telling us his background is important. His background is bolded here, and it's in kill brackets. So we can assume from this that it is his background, indeed, that put him in the place that he's at. Okay, his background is important. Otherwise, it would not be in kill brackets, nor would it be bolded. So Q goes on to say federal prosecutor in North District of New York. Background, important? Well, actually, yes, it is. Otherwise, Q would not be telling us that in the form of a question. He asks it in form of a question because, well, then he's asking us a question and not really telling us. Do you know what I'm saying? There is a big difference there. He's asking us a question, but he's telling us. He was a federal prosecutor in the Northern District of New York. That part of his background is important. He is chairman of the Council of the Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency, or was. Now, and again, and this is in capitals and in kill brackets and bolded. So we can assume that this is a very, very important part of his background. And Q is asking us, is it important? Well, obviously it's important. Number one, Q is telling us that it's important, and he is doing so by emphasizing his background. So yes, it is important. And Q doesn't, in my experience, Q doesn't just waste space. You know what I'm saying? When he says something, it's for a reason. So now underneath here, he is quoting from what we just read. Prior to joining NSA, Mr. Storch served in several positions at the Department of Justice, OIG, including as senior counsel to the IG and acting deputy Inspector General prior to his 2015 appointment as Deputy Inspector General. He also served as chairman of the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, Whistleblower Ombudsman Working Group, the Whistleblower I can never say that word, Ombudsperson program he helped establish is widely seen as a leader in the field. Earlier in his career, Mr. Storch also worked as a federal prosecutor in the Northern District of New York, most recently serving as the Deputy Criminal Chief and Counsel to the U.S. Attorney. He was also posted overseas for 2 years as a Department of Justice resident legal advisor in the Ukraine. End quote. Now, he is telling us here, even though he is asking us, he's saying vehicle for cross-sharing of department to department info regarding inspector generals. Yeah, well, obviously, that is what Q is telling us, that he is indeed a vehicle for cross-sharing of department-to-department information regarding the inspector generals, Council of Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency. So, now let's go to the next link. Here we go. Link 3. Here we come. Giddy up, little hamsters. So this is the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, and I'm not going to read this page for you because what I'm going to do is go back to Q, because Q pulls out for us what he wants us to know. But I do like to take you out to the link so that you know that where this stuff is coming from. And let's get back to where we were, right here. Okay, the CIGIE is comprised of all inspectors general whose I am sorry, I'm just stumbling over myself tonight. The CIGIE is comprised of all inspectors general whose offices are established under Section 2 or Section 8G of the Inspector General Act of 1978. And in brackets 5 USC APP, those that are presidentially appointed / Senate confirmed, and those that are appointed by agency heads, and in brackets designated federal entities. Now, let's go to the third one, because it says, how might this benefit possible ongoing investigations across intra-federal agencies? Well, let's take a look at that link. Sorry, I have so much moving around here. It will get much better, I promise. Now, this link I was having trouble with before. Let me see. Copy hyperlink. It was giving me an error when I went out to it, and I'm not sure why, because I got it straight from the Q post, but this is what I was getting. This legcouncil.house.gov page can't be found, and I don't know why that is. Now, maybe, I don't know if it has something to do with where I am, but if you guys can access this from where you are, that would be a good thing. It is in the first post, Q post from September 19th, and I don't know why, but it will not let me go out to it, or it says that it can't be found. So not sure what that's about. I wonder if we do this, nope, it says access is denied. You do not have permission to view this directory or page using the credentials you supplied. So I don't know, but I can't read to you what I can't get to. So let's go back up here. So I'm not even really sure what this is about because I could not get to it. But let's continue on. How might this benefit possible ongoing investigations across intra-federal agencies? Well, I don't know because I couldn't read it, but obviously this is not a question, it's a statement. So it does benefit ongoing investigations across inter and intra-federal agencies. Now, it says Huber, Horowitz, Storch, U.S. Attorney, Prosecutor, DOJ, FBI Inspector General Investigator, and then Signals Intelligence and Information Assurance, IA, Products and Services. Now, let's go out and look at this link. Okay, is this Huber reports to Horowitz, who reports to Storch? That could be. I think this might be the chain of command that he's letting us know about right here. But let's go out to this link and take a look at it. Okay, now this is the the United States Attorney's Office, District of Utah, Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Utah. Attorney General Jeff Sessions appoints Utah U.S. Attorney John W. Huber to leadership position as member of the Attorney General Advisory Committee. Washington, D.C. Attorney General Jeff Sessions today announced the appointment of 9 new U.S. attorneys to serve 2-year terms on the Attorney General's Advisory Committee of U.S. Attorneys. Utah U.S. Attorney John W. Huber will serve as the vice chair of the AGAC. U.S. Attorney Richard Moore of the Southern District of Alabama will chair the AGAC. The AGAC was created in 1973 and reports to the Attorney General through the Deputy Attorney General. The AGAC represents U.S. attorneys around the country and provides advice and counsel to the Attorney General on matters of policy, procedure, and management impacting the offices of the U.S. attorneys. I am pleased to announce the first members of the Attorney General's Advisory Committee under this administration. These U.S. attorneys will play an important role in carrying out the Department of Justice's mission to reduce violent crime, combat transnational criminal organizations, secure our southern border, end the devastating opioid crisis, and return to the rule of law, said Attorney General Sessions. Okay, now what is the date on this? This was Monday, November 13th, 2017. Now, let's just seeing if I notice any names here. Now, let's go back and see what Q has to say. Okay, now it says NSA been pushed since the beginning. Yes. Logical thinking. The experts. Now, what he is saying here is this is what the so-called experts are saying. But Sessions should appoint a second special counsel in D.C., aka the corrupt swamp. But Sessions should appoint a second special counsel in D.C., aka the corrupt swamp, and then he put team of less than 20 typically, and wait 2 to 4 years, meaning take a gamble. And they're also saying, but Sessions should appoint a second special counsel in D.C., aka the corrupt swamp, because unlike the Clinton email corrupt case, as demonstrated by the FBI, DOJ people fired, removed. This one will be conducted faithfully and honestly, like Mueller. Yeah, right. That's what the so-called experts are saying. Yeah, they want a second special counsel to be appointed. And why is that? Because why would you appoint a second special counsel in DC, which is the epicenter? It's ground zero for the corrupt swamp. And, why would you appoint a second counsel? It's a team of less than 20 typically, and then you've got to wait 2 to 4 years, and you're just basically taking a gamble. But that's what the experts think that he should do. But Sessions should appoint a second counsel in D.C., aka the corrupt swamp, because like Clinton, okay, we just read that, and I'm sorry, I was reading it again, but it makes perfect sense. Why would you appoint a second special counsel in D.C. in the swamp when we've seen how the Clinton email case was handled, right? Not too good. Yeah. And so obviously we can't trust that a second special counsel would conduct any sort of investigation in a faithfully and honest way. I mean, look at Mueller. That's an example of how things are handled. Certainly not faithfully, certainly not honestly. What else are the experts saying? But Huber has not directly interviewed several witnesses. Therefore, the appointment of Huber by Sessions, and therefore the Inspector General, is not genuine. Okay, that's what they are saying. Absolutely. But we already know from Q that that's not true. And let's go on. What else are the experts saying? But Sessions and Huber are following standard DOJ open, ongoing investigation policy by not discussing, making public, so therefore nothing must be happening. And so therefore, fire Sessions. But now would be a very bad time to fire Sessions because, as we found out, Sessions has been activated. Yep, activated. Release the Kraken! Release the Sessions! He's out there, folks. He's been released. All right, and here's what else they're saying. But Huber, ability to prosecute plus impanel a grand jury outside of D.C., 90% plus voted Hillary Rodham Clinton in 2016, who already began the investigation late last year with a assigned team of 470 investigators, attorneys, plus the Inspector General, plus legal jurisdiction across all 50 states, is not a special counsel. So therefore, nothing is being done. Which, it's ludicrous. But that's what the so-called professionals are saying. Mm-hmm. But POTUS is attacking Sessions via Twitter, so therefore he is not working on behalf of the people's interest or POTUS. And in Killbox here, we have the Democrats, the left, love and trust Sessions. Now, why do they love and trust Sessions? Because they think that POTUS is against Sessions and that he's not happy with the job that Sessions is doing. So therefore, the Democrats love him, right? Absolutely. But interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are so many FBI and DOJ senior officials being fired and or removed from their respective positions of power? Who is Attorney General? Who must sign off on each removal? DOJ in charge of FBI? But interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are there 50,000 plus sealed indictments across the U.S.? What percentage equals USA versus X? And okay, those would be indictments that have the words the USA versus whoever. And I don't know what percentage. That is something that I need to look up and find out. But if Q is asking us, then there must be a huge pile of them. Don't you think? Because Q doesn't ask us things just to ask them. And Q certainly doesn't ask us questions because he doesn't know the answer. He doesn't need any answers from us. He's asking questions, but he is actually stating facts. So, coincidence versus Huber start. And he's saying, you think that's a coincidence that there's 50,000 plus sealed indictments since Huber started? You think that's a coincidence? I'm not thinking that it is, but maybe that's just me. All right. Now, but interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are many powerful CEOs, members of Congress / Senate, resigning? Coincidence? Example. Pre-POTUS, did the Speaker of the House indicate wanting to leave politics? No, he didn't. But, interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are human trafficking arrests surging? Nothing to see here. Q. Awesome post. Long, but awesome. Now, I did want to include this, and this is from Lisa Mae Crowley, who I do really, I enjoy following her on Twitter. Has some very, very good comments. Horowitz introduced Storch, first presidential appointed NSA Inspector General on National Whistleblower Day. Horowitz / Storch, Chair, Council of Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, including 73 Inspectors General. Storch, diverse background, includes New York prosecutor and DOJ legal advice in Ukraine. Storch, CIGIE whistleblower, ombudsman, WG, leader in the field, enables cross-organization collaboration and info sharing. Now, we don't need to look at these posts or these links because we already have. And here it says Sessions appoints Huber. Experts calling for second special counsel are stalling. More experts on why Sessions should be fired / second special counsel needed. Public spat between POTUS and Sessions has Democrats, the left, loving Sessions. FBI / DOJ firings approved by Sessions. 50K plus sealed indictments since Huber. CEOs and House / Senate members resigning. 10K plus human trafficking arrests. Yeah. Do we think that this is all coincidence? I don't know about you, but I don't. And I'm pretty sure you don't either, because I think that for the most part, the people listening to this show are, they have brains that work quite well indeed. So let's go up to the next one. And it says, Rod Rosenstein's attempts to stall, declass, and or redact Rod Rosenstein's attempts to stall the declassification of the FISA and the text messages and so forth, and or the redactions have failed. And then Q says, got popcorn? Enjoy the show. Q. Now, I did happen to like Lisa Mae's comment on this as well. She said Rod Rosenstein tried to stall on POTUS on his order to declassify FISA docs and or wanted to redact certain parts to protect sources and methods. He and his merry band of traitors are the only sources and methods he's trying to protect. He failed. Then she says, let's do this thing. And she has 3 big, bags of popcorn there. Alrighty. And we're on to the next. Now, the next one is this, and it's a little hard to see, so I made it bigger, and I made it bigger just because I could. So this, again, is September 19th, and it says, it's pointing to some previous, it's pointing to this, and I'm going to show you what that is because that is far too small for anyone to read. This is what we're looking at, and what did I do there? Alrighty, and it's from the Twitter page, and we're going to go out to see that. Well, it's, yeah, let's go out and look at the Twitter page just so you can see that I'm not pulling this out of anywhere. And I do follow this person. They're called In the Matrix, and they have lots of good stuff on their Twitter account. So this is where this came from, somewhere up here, somewhere. Anyway, this is the link and this is the page it came from. So let's go back. All right, so it's, oh, actually, you know what? I don't know what kind of drugs I'm taking, but actually I'm not taking any. So maybe I need to take some because I'm way confused here. This is something separate. Let's look at this. This is Donald Trump. This is his tweet. It says, the Supreme Court is one of the main reasons I got elected president. I hope Republican voters and others are watching and studying the Democrats' playbook. Now, this was from the 18th of September, and it was tweeted at 8:45 p.m. And below, Q says, now, Q, this is a post from Q from the 18th, and he was making reference to this earlier post of his that he made in January, where he said, narrative shift, nation on alert, firing Rod Rosenstein equals block Mueller, firing Rod Rosenstein equals setting up to fire Mueller, blah, blah, blah. Now, we're not going to go through that again, but it's what Q says underneath that is important, because he says, and let me make this bigger still, he says, the DOJ and FBI have previously informed me that release of some of this information would cross a red line. D-class FISA equals Rod Rosenstein, force, red line, and then underneath he says new playbook needed. Well, he says new playbook needed, but really what he's saying is, yeah, they need a new playbook. And then he says, we see you, Q. Now, that was from the 18th, and this was tweeted the 18th. And so, you know, it's being pointed out here that they both use the word playbook. This was, let me see, this was standard Pacific Standard Time, 3:57. Anyway, I know when you make the conversion of the time, they are minutes apart, and so that is, you know, Q proof basically, because here's Q saying something and Trump is tweeting it out just minutes later. So yeah, that's obviously, you know, important. It's obviously important, because how could that be if they weren't in cahoots together? I don't like that word cahoots, because it sounds like they're doing something bad or wrong, but they obviously discuss this with each other, because it's just too coincidental otherwise. Now, the person in the Matrix was the person that pointed this out, and Q calls him out for this, kind of gives him a kudos, a thumbs up, like, yep. And he says, do you believe in coincidences? Think of context. Nothing to see here. Q. Now, here is the next one from the 19th, and it says, castle lock, Q. Now, we know from previous, Q drops that castle refers to the White House. So when he is saying castle lock, it means the White House is locked down and he is safely secured. Okay, that's what castle lock means, and we only know that because we've been following Q for a while now, and this has come up before. So he said castle lock, Q. This was September 19th. And now, it's interesting because here, this Anon says, POTUS tweets 2 minutes prior stating he has returned to the White House. And he says hashtag Q-proof. So this is more Q-proof because here, September 19th, he's saying castle lock, meaning the White House is locked down and the president is within and safe. But 2 minutes previously, Donald Trump tweets the following: just returned to the White House from the great states of North Carolina and South Carolina, where incredible work is being done on the ongoing fight against Hurricane Florence. Tremendous talent and spirit. Now, it's interesting because he could have said this. He could have said just returned from the great states of North Carolina and South Carolina, but he didn't say that. He made sure to say that he had returned to the White House right after Q posts castle lock. More Q-proof? Absolutely it is. Now, here is the next one. Panic in UK. Panic in DC. Panic in UK. Panic in DC. Q. So, why would that be? Why is it back and forth? Panic in UK, DC, UK, DC. Because they're both involved. They're both involved, and they're panicking. Now, I like this comment. Our Five Eye allies in the UK, as well as deep state swamp traders in DC, have much to be afraid of once the declassification or the declassified FISA docs are published. And that is true. Once these declassified FISA docs are published and made public and in the public's hands, it's not going to be good. And that's why panic in UK, panic in DC, panic in UK, panic in DC. Oh, there's panic everywhere. That's why. Now, here is the next one. And it says, Trudeau, anything? Owl. And this is part of, question and answers to Q. And Q responds by saying, billionaire S 187. Five Eye, safety house build. Uranium 1 funnel to Canada and then to X, which I would assume is Russia or wherever the uranium went. Could have gone more than one place. And then he signs it off Q. Well, here it says Anon, and I happen to like this, and so I used it, giving credit where credit is due. Lisa Mae Crowley. Anon asks if Q has anything on Trudeau. Appears to be saying billionaires have been killed. Canada is one of the Five Eye intel sharing partners. They likely helped the deep state spy on U.S. citizens. Uranium 1 deal funneled to Russia via Canada. Now, it was funneled to our enemies via Canada. And the other thing is, when he is saying billionaires 187, I think he is speaking there about the couple in Toronto that were killed, and they were part of, I think Apotex is the pharmaceutical company they belong to. They did have ties to Clinton and did have ties to Haiti. A lot of ties there, but this couple were found hanging over their pool. They had circular, I guess, like several floors that you could look down into the pool. Well, they were found hanging, this couple, and they were murdered. And I believe that is who he is referring to. Now, Lisa Mae Crowley, I don't think picked up on that, but I am probably 99.9% sure that that is who they are speaking about, is the couple that were killed in that manner. Now, it is not 8:59 p.m. Eastern time, and I still do have a few posts to go over from the 19th. But here's what I'm going to do. The next one I'm going to pick up from where I left off. I do need to make an important phone call at 9 p.m. So I'm going to have to cut this off here. And I will look up this information about these billionaires in my next video, but it won't be long. I will be posting very, very soon. So this will be part 1, and I will post part 2 very, very shortly. I will look up this information for you in the meantime for part 2. So at any rate, I'm going to cut it off at this point for now, and I will be back very, very shortly. Thank you so much for listening. Talk to you guys soon. Stay well, stay safe.